You ever wake up one day and realize you're tired of feeling shaken by what others say about you? Tired of explaining yourself to people who don't even care to understand you? Tired of letting every little jab, every bit of gossip, every closed door break you? If you felt that, you're not alone. But here's the truth. The moment you decide that your peace is more valuable than their opinion, you start walking into a new power. A power they can't touch, can't shake, and can't define. You were never meant to live chasing their approval. You were meant to stand firm like a mountain in a storm, rooted, unmoved, unbothered. That's the mindset that changes everything. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. It's not pride, it's purpose. It's knowing who you are, what you carry, and refusing to hand over your worth to people too blind to see it. There's something sacred about silence, about calm strength, about the man or woman who doesn't need to shout to prove a point. When you become unbothered, you become untouchable. And from that moment forward, life stops happening to you and starts happening for you. Now let's talk about how you get there. Most people spend their entire lives reacting to disrespect, reacting to problems, reacting to what someone said about them, what someone did to them, what someone didn't do for them. And because of that, they never really live. They just survive. Always on edge, always in defense mode. But let me tell you something real. Peace is not the absence of noise. Peace is the power to remain grounded when the world around you is on fire. It's not about controlling what happens outside of you. It's about mastering what happens within you. The enemy doesn't need to destroy your life. He just needs to destroy your focus. And the moment you let someone else's words control your emotions, you've handed them the keys to your soul. That's why mastering your inner peace is the most powerful thing you will ever do. Because peace makes you untouchable. When you find that calm place inside yourself, people can come at you with chaos, but you won't flinch. You won't fold. You won't lose your mind trying to prove who you are. You be so locked into your purpose that noise becomes background. And when you're rooted like that, storms don't shake you, they shape you. Inner peace is a decision, a daily choice. It's not some magical moment where everything becomes easy. No, it's the quiet discipline of walking through fire without letting it touch your soul. Every time you decide not to respond to negativity, every time you walk away from drama, every time you breathe instead of break, it shows up in how you carry yourself when no one claps for you, how you stay centered when life hits you the hardest, and how you don't let fear or anger pull you out of alignment. You see, anybody can be calm when life is good, but real peace, real strength, it's forged in pressure. It's tested when everything you love is on the line. And if you can hold your peace, then you're not just surviving, you're evolving. You're becoming someone this world can't bend or break, not because life stopped being hard, but because you got stronger inside. The world will keep spinning, people will keep talking, things will keep happening that you can't predict or control. But here's the secret most people miss. You're not supposed to control the world. You're supposed to master your response to it. That's where your freedom begins. Not in trying to silence every critic or avoid every trigger, but in choosing to remain steady even when you're misunderstood, even when you're disrespected. Because your peace does not require their apology. Your peace doesn't need closure. Your peace comes from knowing who you are, who you're becoming, and refusing to let anything outside of that story pull you down. And once you start protecting that mindset like your life depends on it, because it does, you'll begin to see clearly what used to shake you will start to bore you. What used to trigger you will become your training ground. You won't need to clap back. You won't need to prove your worth. Your stillness will be your roar. But let me be real with you, it's not easy. People will test you. The moment you decide to protect your peace, life will throw everything it can to see if you really mean it. Old triggers, familiar faces, emotional landmines that used to explode without warning, but this time you breathe, you pause. You don't let it have you. That's the moment something shifts. You start realizing that the power was never in reacting. It was always in choosing. Choosing not to go to war every time someone throws a stone. Choosing to let silence speak when anger wants to shout. Choosing to put your energy into growth, not conflict. You can't heal in a place where you're constantly defending yourself. You can't evolve if you're always explaining yourself. You weren't made for endless battles. You were made for legacy. And that starts when you decide not everything deserves my energy. Not everything gets a seat at my table. The mindset of peace isn't passive, it's powerful. Don't mistake calm for weakness. Don't think the quiet ones aren't warriors. The ones who sit still in chaos have usually walked through storms no one knows about. They learned that survival wasn't enough. They needed to rise. So they stopped chasing noise. They stopped explaining to people who didn't listen. Stopped showing up to battles they already outgrew. And when you start walking that path, it's lonely at first, because silence scares people who live in drama. Peace offends those who feed off chaos. But don't shrink to make them comfortable. Stay still, stay grounded. Watch how the noise tries to bait you, but you no longer answer. Because your mind has become your sanctuary, your heart has become your fortress. You've built peace, not from comfort, but from fire. And now that you've tasted that clarity, you'll never trade it for temporary approval again. There's going to be days when your patience is tested, your name is dragged, your intentions are misunderstood. On those days, remind yourself, you don't rise by reacting, you rise by remaining rooted. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them spin their stories. You've got a mission, and you're not about to abort it because of background noise. You're here to build something eternal, and that requires inner stillness. When you're shaken easily, you're moved off course. But when you're calm in the storm, you become the storm. You don't just navigate chaos, you command peace. You learn that your boundaries are sacred, your silence is a strategy, your restraint is power. And once you start responding from wisdom instead of emotion, everything changes. People don't get the same version of you anymore. Not because you're cold, but because you're clear. You've learned the hard way that not everyone deserves access to the peace you fought to build. The more you master your inner world, the less the outer world controls you. That's how you break free. That's how you stop living at the mercy of everyone's mood, opinion, or behavior. You stop letting chaos infect your spirit. You stop letting moments of pain define your whole story. Instead, you rise. Not because life got easier, but because you got wiser. Now you see clearly, you protect your energy like it's sacred. You guard your mind like a temple. And when you walk into a room, you don't come in loud. You come in solid, unshaken, untouchable. That's the power of inner peace. It doesn't mean you don't feel, it means you don't fold. It means you carry peace like armor. And once you reach that level, there's no turning back. Because once you've been still in the storm, you realize you are the calm, you are the anchor. You are the one who cannot be moved. There comes a moment in life when you realize caring too much is costing you peace. You're giving and giving, hoping someone will finally see your worth. You're over-explaining, over-apologizing, over-summaring just to keep people in your life who don't even treat you like a priority. And the weight of that, it's heavy, not just on your back, but on your spirit. That's when you have to make a choice. To love without losing yourself, to care without collapsing, to detach, not because you stopped loving, but because you finally started healing. You see, detachment doesn't mean bitterness. It doesn't mean becoming cold. It means you've reached a level of maturity where you can say, I love you, but I won't let your chaos live in me. That's strength. That's wisdom. That's self-respect. Too many people think silence means you don't care. No, silence means you do care. Enough to protect your peace, enough to guard your energy. You stop responding out of impulse and start responding from clarity. That's the shift. That's the moment you reclaim your power. You're not cutting people off with anger, you're cutting ties with emotional dependency. You're not walking away to hurt them, you're walking away to find you. That's not cruelty, that's compassion for yourself. And here's the truth, when you truly detach, you don't need to block anyone, expose anyone, or announce anything. You just let peace become your boundary. Your silence becomes your response. You stop explaining your value and start showing it by how you carry yourself. When you detach with grace, you walk away from people, places, and patterns that once held you hostage, and you do it without hate. That's real power. Because hate is still a form of attachment, but peace is freedom. And freedom doesn't chase, it chooses, it trusts, it lets go. Don't let your heart become a hostage to someone else's healing. You're not their savior. You're not their emotional crutch. You can love people deeply and still choose distance. You can forgive them, wish them well, and still never open that door again. And that doesn't make you cruel. It makes you clear. The ones who confuse your boundaries for bitterness were never used to your strength. But let them misunderstand. Let them talk. Let them project. You're not living for validation. You're living for liberation. And that's what detachment brings. You don't have to stop loving people to let them go. You just have to love yourself enough to stop bleeding for people who wouldn't even offer you a bandage. That's not selfish, that's sacred. Because there's nothing holy about staying somewhere your soul is starving. You don't owe your peace to anyone who consistently costs you your joy. And when you realize that, when you embody that, you begin to show up differently. Your presence becomes quieter but more powerful. Your energy becomes selective but more healing. And your love becomes whole, not because of who stayed, but because of who you became in the letting go. That's what it means to choose detachment with compassion. It's not about closing your heart. It's about not allowing your open heart to become a target for those who can't see its value. You keep your softness, but you no longer place it in unworthy hands. You keep your kindness, but it's now guided by discernment. And from that space, you become dangerous, not because you harm others, but because no one can harm you anymore without your permission. There's a shift that happens in your life when you stop waiting for people to understand you and you start walking in your calling. When you stop seeking permission to be great and you realize God already gave it to you. The applause, you don't need it. The approval, you don't wait on it. Because purpose doesn't need permission. Purpose just moves. Purpose builds. Purpose shows up even when no one's clapping. You see, the moment you stop asking, am I good enough? Do they like me? Will they support me? And instead start declaring, this is what I'm here to do, and I will do it with fire in my soul. That's when the chains fall off. That's when doubt starts to tremble. Because now you're no longer controlled by people who couldn't even carry what you've been called to birth. You're no longer explaining your vision to people who were never meant to see it. That's freedom. That's purpose. And that's the most powerful version of you. When you live from purpose, you don't need to fit in rooms. You build them. You don't wait for someone to open the door, you kick it down or create a new one. Because when you're truly walking in purpose, rejection doesn't destroy you, it redirects you. Delays don't discourage you, they develop you. And criticism, it doesn't cripple you anymore, it sharpens your focus. You stop getting stuck in what didn't work, and you start showing up for what still could. That's purpose. Purpose makes you unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get laser focused. And let me tell you, purpose doesn't beg, it doesn't shrink, it doesn't apologize for existing. When you're locked into who you are, you stop needing a crowd to feel worthy. You stop performing just to be seen. You start doing what you were born to do, even if it's in silence. Even if nobody notices yet, even if it costs you people who only love the insecure version of you. Because here's the truth. The version of you that lives for applause will die in rejection. But the version of you that lives for purpose, that version can't be touched. When you no longer wait for the green light from people who are stuck at red lights in their own lives, your life accelerates. You stop asking, is it okay if I dream this big? Is it okay if I grow? Is it okay if I change? No, you look in the mirror and say, it's not just okay, it's required. Your future depends on it. The people you're meant to help depend on it. Your healing depends on it. Stop shrinking for those who are intimidated by your fire. If they can't handle your flame, let them step out of the kitchen. Because you didn't come this far just to be tolerated. You came to transform. Living from purpose means you don't settle for safe. You don't let fear decide your future. You know that you've been through too much, cried too many nights, carried too many burdens to throw away your calling now. There's something inside of you that the world needs, and if you keep waiting for perfect timing or public approval, you'll miss it. Your purpose was planted in pain, watered with tears, and it's ready to bloom. But you've got to stop asking people to validate seeds they can't even recognize. You don't need permission to rise. You just need the courage to start. So walk forward boldly, not because it's easy, but because it's yours. Your path, your calling, your God-given mission. And when you start living like your steps are ordered, everything begins to change. You no longer chase people, you chase impact. You don't seek claps, you seek clarity. You don't live on borrowed identity, you stand in divine authority. That's purpose. And when you live from it, you become unbothered, untouchable, and completely unstoppable. You've been through enough doubts, enough disappointments, enough battles that almost broke you, but look at you, still standing. And that says something. It says you were never weak, even in your silence. It says you were never defeated, even when you felt invisible. You see, the world may have tried to shake you, bend you, even bury you, but it didn't break you. And that alone is proof. There's something unshakable within you, something no one can touch, something no one can define except you. This journey you're on, it's not about pleasing everyone. It's not about being liked. It's not about being perfect. It's about becoming. Becoming who you were always meant to be. Beneath the pain, beneath the people pleasing, beneath the noise. And that version of you, it's not driven by approval. It's not moved by drama. It's not defined by past mistakes. It's rooted in purpose, covered in peace, fueled by clarity. That version of you is focused not on revenge, not on proving anything, but on growing, healing, and fulfilling the call that was placed on your life long before they had an opinion. When you stop asking for permission to be powerful, to speak up, to walk away, to rise higher, you step into a freedom most people never taste. A freedom where you don't need to react to everything thrown your way. A freedom where silence becomes your strength, where distance becomes your discipline, where your boundaries are no longer explained, just enforced. You stop giving your time, your energy, your heart to people who only show up when it's convenient. You stop explaining your worth and start embodying it. The power of being unbothered isn't about being numb. It's about being clear. Clear about who you are, clear about what you allow, clear about what you will never tolerate again. It's not about shutting down. It's about rising up. It's about learning to protect your peace even in chaos. To choose detachment not out of hatred, but out of healing. It's loving people from a distance, wishing them well, and still choosing you. Because you matter. Your voice matters. Your journey matters. This mindset of calm power, of quiet strength, of grounded confidence. It doesn't come overnight, it's built. Built through nights you cried in silence, days you walked alone, and moments you chose growth over retaliation. Built through lessons that humbled you, losses that taught you, pain that pushed you deeper into your own truth. And now that you found it, don't let anyone pull you back into who you've already outgrown. You don't owe anyone your suffering. You don't have to keep carrying the weight of their opinions, their projections, their disappointments. You are not responsible for how they mishandled you. You are only responsible for how you rise now, how you rebuild, how you reset your standards, and how you respond